Welcome to the Tilt Show, baby. It is Sunday Night Football. We got Cowboys, we got Giants. I'm excited. It's the first Sunday Night Football showdown of the year. And if, like me, you don't have CMC and Ayuk in the same lineup, you're probably drawing dead in the middle anyways. So let's enter Sunday Night Football together, people. I'm also tilting because I just recorded this for 20 minutes with like no screen on in the background. So this is like run number 2 here. Let's get it. DFS Army, DFS Up North, Sunday Night Football Tilt Edition. Let's go. What up, Dennis? Yes, we are finally live and back with a Sunday Night Football Tilt Edition, right? The main slate's been a little tricky today. It's kind of been fun to watch, sort of the chalk busted, which, me, I love that. But, some guys in good spots didn't play well either. It's been an interesting day. Like, if you would have said, hey, I will give you $1 million if Justice Hill scores 2 touchdowns today, and I had to give you $10 if he doesn't, I wouldn't have bet that. Like, I wouldn't have bet it. I'm sorry. Like, I wouldn't have done it. And here, that's where we're at. But we got a great Sunday Night Football game tonight. We got the Cowboys and the Giants. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. As I'm going here, if you have any questions, leave me a post in the comment, or if you have any thoughts, things like that. But yeah, hit that like button, hit subscribe. We appreciate that. It helps keep content like this coming at you. It is just me tonight. The triumvirate of me, Geek, and Bobby will be back tomorrow. With the Monday Night Football Showdown. We've got, it's going to be interesting. We got Geeks Jets against Josh Allen and the Bills. I am expecting a Bills beatdown, and me and Bobby are going to have to, talk Geek out of trying to play 6 Jets in a lineup. So we've got what up, Hunter? How you been, my man? This is an interesting game, especially because both teams have really sort of changed a little bit. Their offenses look a little different. So on the Dallas side of the ball, they've added Brandon Cooks to the wide receiver room, and they've got rid of Ezekiel Elliott, which I think is great because we've been screaming at the rooftops for Tony Pollard to play more for years. So I'm excited for Tony Pollard to finally get his shot tonight. They've also added like Hunter Lipke, Deuce Vaughn. Well, I tell you what, Tamales and Papooses is one of the sharpest people I know, and he expects the Cowboys to go. I do. I think that the Cowboys are going to win tonight, but I do think that the Giants are fantasy relevant. We'll get to that here in a second. But on the Giants side of the ball, they've added Darren Waller, who is, surprise, hurt again. He's dealing with a hamstring strain, but is expected to play. We'll see. We'll need to keep an eye on that here in about 2 hours when the inactives come out, but they've added him, Isaiah Hodgins, and Paris Campbell and Darius Slayton are their top 3 wide receivers. Sterling Shepard is like wide receiver 5, which is crazy. They've also got rookie Jalen Hyatt, who is interesting. And then, they've got Steady Eddie, Saquon Barkley in the back, and Danny Dimes under center, who I love. That is why I think that the Giants are fantasy relevant tonight, because my love for Danny Dimes has no bounds. So let's talk a little bit about this slate. All right. So we'll get to the cheat sheet here in a second. But sort of the way that I end up breaking down these slates or getting an idea is, if you've ever listened to anything that I've done before, you know that I'm a big believer in Vegas being smarter than me. And when I say that, right, we can see sort of, I'm gonna go consensus sportsbook projection. Okay, there we go. Vegas is smarter than me, right? And Vegas is very much in the field of 50-50 outcomes, right? So these are good medium projections of what they think is going to happen during the game. And this new tool that we have at DFS Army, the Proptimizer, lets us really easily see that in a quick little look. And we also then can compare that to sort of like the consensus lines, the prize picks lines, and then our sharp at projections, which are really, really, really good. So right now, what they're telling us, if we look at sort of the markets, is that they're going to expect Dak to throw for about 243 yards. And then, we'll get to touchdowns and stuff here in a second. It's about 1.5 touchdowns, right? Daniel Jones, 215. And we're a little bit higher actually on both. So the sharp apps projection for Dak is 253 and 220 for Dimes. They expect Pollard to kind of be the guy rushing here, 71.5. That's not surprising. We actually project him at 85. So I kind of like, if you're on Prize Picks, things like that, take the over on Tony Pollard. CeeDee Lamb, we're expecting him to be the number one guy. Obviously, Barkley. I am a little shocked at everybody's numbers here on Darren Waller. I like the under on this, but hey, who am I? Brandon Cooks, Daniel Jones, 34.5 rushing yards, which is interesting. But then you kind of see like all of these giants in here with like lower receiving yards, and obviously that's to be expected. We go to the next page. I just did everything here, right? We can see like receptions. We're projecting Waller for like 4.2, CeeDee Lamb for 5.5. The sportsbook kind of consensus is 6. So yeah, you get a good idea of when you look at the props like this, you get a good idea of sort of what the game looks like and who we need to target in the game. So if we go back to the cheat sheet here, I'm not sure why it's because I'm zoomed out so that you can like actually see it. Let me put me in the bottom here. Nope, I don't like that. If I go to the side, do we like that? Nope, don't like that. Let's go up to the top again. Okay, so if we go to my cheat sheet, we're just going to talk through this a little bit. Basically, sort of my strategy when it comes to showdowns, and there are 1,000 different strategies for showdowns, but basically what I want to do is I want to try to get 4, maybe 5 captains. And this is like 20 max, 150 max, like even at 150 max, like I am really trying to narrow down my captain pool. And what I put in here is who I think is the most viable, but like even on this list, so like my list for DraftKings on our cheat sheet is Pollard, Barkley, Lamb, Prescott, Jones, and then like maybe a punt on Hodgins, right? Like if I'm just playing 20 max, I am probably just playing Jones, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, and Saquon Barkley. Like I am going to try to eliminate variables. So I am going to say, okay, I'm going to push my chips in and try to be right on these 4 guys. And if I'm not, so be it, right? If a 1% owned Darius Slayton is the nuts captain and I get beat because of that, I'm okay with that, because more times than not, by playing sort of the higher end guys, you have a much better chance of splitting, right? But I like $10,000 as much as or a lot more than 0. So that's sort of the way I look at it. That might not necessarily be the highest ceiling way, but I try to narrow down that captain pool and then expand my regular player pool and try to get more combinations with those captains. All right. That's the way that I like to attack Showdown. And my captain or MVP pool on FanDuel is even going to be a little bit lower than that. So when we look at this, right, like we talk about Tony Pollard. So Tony Pollard's obviously smashing, and he gets Brian Schottenheimer. That's one thing that I didn't mention about this new regime sort of in Dallas. This new era of Dallas Cowboy football is Brian Schottenheimer is the new offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore has gone to the Los Angeles Chargers. And with that, we are going to see, I would expect, the Cowboys to run the ball more. That's sort of been Brian Schottenheimer's MO. So that's great for Tony Pollard. I think that he gets a minimum of like 20 touches this week. I really think that Pollard is going to have a massive game. One of my favorite captain plays, not my favorite, but he's up there just because he's the highest price guy. But yeah, he's obviously an elite play. I'm going to try to be over the field everywhere on Tony Pollard. You guys don't need to tell me to tell you to play Tony Pollard, right? You watch a football game once, you know that. So Saquon Barkley, again, same sort of thing, right? I actually like the idea of playing Saquon captains with five Cowboys in it. You know, Saquon gets 100 yards and a tutty. Maybe he gets it. Dak spreads it out a little. I think that's definitely a viable sort of build. So Saquon obviously going to be a great play. I was interested. I thought that he would be higher to score a touchdown than Pollard, but Pollard is actually the favorite according to the sportsbooks props. I love CeeDee Lamb. We can look over here at the NFL wide receiver versus cornerback breakdown, and we can see that CeeDee Lamb is expected to play, according to this, against Darnay Holmes. I actually think that they are going to move Adoree Jackson into the slot, and I don't even know if Holmes will be in the starting lineup. They're going to play Banks and then who else? The other rookie cornerback out there. Like 2 starting rookie cornerbacks, it sounds like. But even with that, that's a great play. Adoree Jackson in the slot is giving up a passer rating of 104.2. Average yards per target is 9. Like, come on. Not very good, right? 59% catch rate. So CeeDee Lamb has the potential to absolutely go bonkers this week. I really am high on him in the captain spot. But my favorite captain play, and as I just got a DM from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Kevin Allen, FF Football Geek, he said, Danny Dimes for all the dollars. So you know that, and Geek loves dimes too. So the reason that we love dimes is because of this, because he can throw the ball, he can run the ball, he can score you touchdowns multiple ways, and he's always underpriced and under-owned. We have him at about 10% in the captain right now for ownership. I am going to be right around 25 in the captain. I don't mind rolling him out there by himself. I don't mind rolling him out there with Saquon Barkley. I don't mind rolling him out there with I don't mind rolling him out there with Graham Gano. So he's a guy that can he can get it done without having to drag somebody with him. So I'm pretty high on Jones here. Like I said, Hodgins, I like. He crushed at the end of the season, but he's a super punt play. As we look at the flex, right, we talked about all those guys. We get down to Darren Waller. I'm a bit surprised how high priced he is, but he's obviously a tight end 1 when he's healthy and playing well. Is he healthy right now? No. So it's scary. I think it's really scary, but I'm likely going to be under on him. I think we have the potential here, unless he's like fully healthy and running at this price. I'm not sure he gets there, even if he scores. So for me, I'm going to be under there. Brandon Cooks, obviously love the addition to this offense. He's been super good. I don't know that he has the upside in the captain, but he's a great flex play. Hodgins, we talked about, and then Michael Gallup. So Gallup's best seasons in Dallas have been when he was the wide receiver 3. He just gets better matchups. It works out better for him. He's a guy that he's going to have, a height advantage on everyone. And he is just too cheap, especially on FanDuel. When we switch to FanDuel, I will talk about that, but I am so high on Gallup this week over there at 8,000. He is crazy. Darius Slayton, he's got the wheels. He only needs two or three passes, right? If Jones looks his way 2 or 3 times and he can bring those balls in, he's got potential to go bonkers. Trayvon Diggs is an elite ball hawk defensive back. He gives up a ton of big plays, right? If we look over here, we can see that. Where am I at? Go scroll down to the Giants. We're close. We got to be close. There we go. Trayvon Diggs, right cornerback. So Slayton will line up on both sides, but gives up 9.7 targets, 2 TDs, 62% catch rate. Like, he is going to, I think he can get torched, right? He tries to intercept the ball, which is great for the Cowboys defense. But it leads to some big plays. So I like a guy like Darius Slayton as sort of a punt. Not often. We very, very rarely see defenses priced over 5,000 on DraftKings. And we got the Cowboys there this week. I think that is an appropriate price. This defense is insane. Dimes can turn the ball over. He's going to take sacks because he runs. So look, I really like the Cowboys D here. I like the Cowboys D, even if I'm playing Danny Dimes. I'm not making a rule that says no Cowboys defense with Daniel Jones, or even with Saquon Barkley, right? I think that they have high scoring potential here. The ownership might be a little bit lower than it should just because they are priced up. So I'm really high on the Cowboys this week. As we keep going down here, Jake Ferguson, I really like. I like him on both sides. He's super cheap. We saw him last year when he got the chance to start. He had a great game and was way more athletic than I probably gave him credit for. So with Dalton Schultz out of the picture now, he's really only dealing with Peyton Hendershot, who is a blocking tight end, and then Luke Schoonover, who's a rookie with upside, but just not in the system yet, really. Jalen Hyatt, rookie, he'll get some snaps. I don't like the price should be about $2,000 less on Hyatt. He shouldn't be priced above Paris Campbell, who is likely going to start in the slot. Campbell, when healthy, has been good throughout his career, but just has a hard time staying healthy, which seems to be sort of the MO of the Giants right now. Aubrey, new kicker for the Cowboys. He did miss an extra point last week, or the last week of the preseason, but you're going to hear they're going to talk about him 4,000 times on the broadcast because He is coming from MLS, and he's the former #1 pick there, and has switched and played football for like the last 4 years and learned how to kick. And yeah, so you're going to hear a lot about him. But Graham Gano is actually the guy. And I just wanted to highlight this. My boy DFS Spreadsheets comes up with these showdown sort of analysts every week. And he has some really good nuggets of information. I'm going to get back to the quarterback one here, but the thing about Graham Gano is Graham Gano was the captain last season 11 times in Giants games. Like, he was the best, or the most points per dollar play, the nuts captain for his position, which is 9% higher than the league average for his position. So I don't love Gano here. But yeah. And then Prescott was not a captain last season. So this was actually just regular season. In the playoffs, he was the nuts captain against the Bucks, but that 0 for Dallas is really interesting. And partially why I'm looking to, sort of get off of him in this slate. So the other thing that I think is always interesting is how the stack probabilities line up. And there's a 50% chance that 3-3 stack is where it ends up. And you can actually, within the optimizer, right? If we go to the domination station, you can set that up. So I can say, team 4 stacking. Yeah. Okay. So I can say, I want 50% of my lineups to be New York Giants 3, Dallas 3. And the optimizer will do that for you. The DS will build that out for you, which is super handy. Deuce Vaughn, again, I think I'm curious to see how they use him. You're not going to be able to see him behind the defensive line because he's like 5'2", or the offensive line, but he's interesting. Shepard, man, I don't know how far he is fouled. Dowdle will be the RB2. I think you do need some exposure to Dowdle just in case Pollard gets hurt. Like, if you're building 150 lineups, get 5% Dowdle in there. You'll be over the field and have a chance to get some action. Tolbert, he had a really nice preseason. I don't think he's going to be kind of the guy. Daniel Bellinger, just in case Waller, gets hurt, I think you get some exposure there. Some of the turds that I like, Hunter Lipke, fullback. Yes, he is third. Yeah, he runs hard. He's like third in the depth chart, right? And then this guy that I'm going to talk about right now, I think might get more snaps than him too. And that's Hunter Lipke. He is a fullback out of NDSU right by me here. And has good passing. Like, they say they want to use him in a John Kuhn, right? In a John Kuhn role, like similar to what McCarthy did with the Green Bay Packers and John Kuhn. So he is, I think he's interesting. He's going to ruin a showdown at some point this year. Do I think it's in this first game? Probably not, but a name that you want to remember. Lawrence Cager, no. But Kevontae Turpin, I will have a few lineups in. I will put a rule in the domination station that says this. Scroll over to here. I want create a new rule. If Turpin is flex, then I want exactly one of the Cowboys defense. And the reason is because I did select player. The reason is because we want double dip on a punt return or a kick return touchdown. Turpin is an elite returner. And, if he takes one to the house and he scores, then I'm not going to get just points for Turpin scoring. I'm going to get points for the Cowboys defense scoring as well. So that is something that I like to do every now and then, especially if I'm building like 150. If I can throw that in 5 lineups, I don't hate that. When we look over at FanDuel, like I said, it's very, very similar here, except we know on FanDuel that the quarterback is king, right? So sorry, I should add 4-4 there. My star is mixed up. For me, I am going Danny Dimes here. Love him. Dak is obviously great. Saquon. I don't love CeeDee Lamb just because of how much he has to do to get there. It's possible, like, he could have a massive game. Like, if he gets a 2-3 touchdown game, it's possible, but it's not 100% guaranteed because, again, Dak will crush just based on FanDuel's scoring. Lamb would have to have like 10 catches or 12 catches really to get there. And then Pollard, obviously, a great play too. I really like Pollard on FanDuel this week just because of the pricing. Some of the other, differences over here is that Hodgins is a little expensive. Campbell's expensive. But the kickers, Michael Gallup and Jake Ferguson, are ultra cheap in starting spots. I love both of them. You can do the same sort of Turpin turd play over here. Schoonamaker's cheap, 5,000. I don't hate going there. I mean, he's a tight end 3, but they like him. But am I okay playing naked? Oh, yeah. I did say this already. I'm all in on playing naked Dimes. I don't think you need to pair him with one pass catcher. I don't mind. I don't mind Dimes with Gano. And I'm saying like a captain, but like in just your flex, like naked dimes is 100% fine. 100% fine. I don't think you need to make any rules that state that. I don't want naked Dak Prescott, so we want to make a rule for that. But naked dimes, totally fine. All right, and that sounds weird, but you know what I mean. So okay, I'm gonna make some lineups. Okay, let's start with FanDuel. Okay, I said I do love Daniel Jones here. I think that he is an elite play. It's really, really hard to get all the studs on this slate. So for me, sort of my preferred build is to try to go Jones and then both the running backs. Now it gets a little tricky because you got to play some turds. I wish I had like $500 more. But again, I said I like Gallup right at 8,000. I wish I could play Jake Ferguson here, but you can come down, especially in something that's like a large player pool. Like I don't mind playing this lineup, right? Leave me 500. That's fine. If you're playing cash, I would probably get rid of Saquon and I would go CeeDee Lamb and probably Jake Ferguson. Ugh. Can I get Dak in here? Get rid of CeeDee Lamb. Get Tony Pollard. What does that leave me with? Do I have a 6,000 guy that's actually going to play? And the answer is no, not really. Maybe Tolbert. No, not Tolbert. Antonio Callaway's in the league, huh? Yeah, no. It's cash is really hard on FanDuel. Like, not really sure. I'm not really sure how you get there in cash. Like, yeah, you got to play like a Gallup. Say Gano. That leaves me with 1350. What can I get? Nothing. Darren Waller. Ew. Like that is not great. Sorry, I forgot I had Chris's thing up there. That's not great. So like for me, when I see that, right, I go, okay. And I saw this earlier, so I knew this was coming. But in my head, I'm like, all right, baby, this is a absolutely like 150 max. Play the quarters, the nickels, the dollar, whatever, and just run captains, run Jones, run Saquon, run Pollard, run Dak, just with randoms, right? And then you don't look at it because you're gonna go, oh, gross, I want to tinker with this. And the reality is that like I'm just trying to win a GPP. I'm not gonna tinker because Deuce Vaughn could score a touchdown or Kevontae Turpin could score or some just like absolute freaking dud. So that's sort of my strategy there this week. If we look over at DraftKings, I said I like Jones here, right? What can we do? What can we do on DraftKings? I always feel like DraftKings is a little easier to get excited about and play. What are we saying about Daniel Bellinger? Could have an elevated role. Yeah, that's true. He could. And man, that 400 makes things kind of sexy here. Let's go Hodgins. And now Cooks. Don't like that. Right? Notice like if you are used to watching Geek build these, like how different our lineups are. Like Geek builds for 100 max lineups. And I'm just trying to take down the Millie. I haven't done it yet. I'm not Bobby, but we're getting there. We're getting closer. I don't hate playing Cowboys defense there. There's just no good plays in this range, right? Like sub 3K is nothing. Especially if you're trying to lock in both running backs, which maybe we shouldn't be. Maybe we shouldn't get Saquon with Daniel Jones, and that's fine. But if we go CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, Isaiah Hodgins, now I'm down to 4,000. Graham Gano, and yeah, like man, this is a tough slate to build lineups on. Like Giants D, no, that sounds terrible. They're forcing me to play Darren Waller, and I don't want to. If I play Dak, I can go double kicker, I guess. Or Paris Campbell. I don't hate that. Ooh, I don't mind that. That's a better lineup. That's a better lineup. I can get on board with that. I might have to just play that. All right. Let's enter that. All right. So that's sort of where I'm at this week. Does anybody have any questions? I know. I don't love hurt Darren Waller. Gosh, this slate's tough. Good luck, Hunter. I need a turd. And that's for everybody. Who is the one guy that you're playing that nobody else is, right? That you feel like, okay, this guy's going to have a game. So, Hunter, I need you to comment. I need you to tell me who it's going to be. And we'll get to it. But this is a tough slate, guys. This is a really tough slate. I really do think that we trust the DS here. You set your captains, you let it run, and you just kind of see what happens. I know it's gross. But you just kind of go, okay, like I'm going to play $100. I'm going to play $50. I'm going to play $1,000, whatever your sort of fun money is. Like, be like, okay, I'm going to build in the DS, and whatever happens. If I have to if that money lights on fire, I am no worse for the wear, right? So again, yeah, no, never. Like very, very ever. Very, yeah, I like Dallas D. Yes, I do. Deuce. All right, man. I can get on board. Yeah, no. It's awful. I never play, like, especially in Showdown. There's a strategy like to just getting across the cash line some nights, and when it comes together, then I do. But otherwise, like, I'm just trying to win money. Like, I get that like profitability long term is important, and for me it is as well. But I find ways to do that kind of everywhere else. But yeah, Hendershot's been the guy before. I get it. And the ownership is going to be ridiculously low. So that's what I got. You guys can find me at DFSUpNorth on Twitter. You can find me in the Discord for DFS Army VIPs at DFSUpNorth. I'm usually hanging around a Geeks channel or somewhere like that. So you can always tag me or send me a DM, though Discord makes it so you got to be like friends now. Oh, okay. I like Cooks. So cash means like double ups, 50-50s, head-to-head, things like that. That's where I usually just build like a main lineup and throw it in. Like if I'm playing, let's say I'm playing $100, I'll play $30 in head-to-head, right? Yeah, okay. All right. So the chat is saying Hendershot. All right, I am in. I'm going to update my notes right now and say that the chat says Hendershot is the guy. Let's go. He's our third play of the week. But yeah, we will be back here tomorrow to talk about this game and to talk about the Monday Night Football game between the New York Fighting Football Geeks and the Buffalo Bills. And we'll have it all for you tomorrow. All right, guys. Cheers. Good luck tonight. I appreciate it. Again, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and we will chat soon. Bye, guys.